There's an historic battle going on now across the West, in Europe, America, and elsewhere. It is globalism against populism. And you may loathe populism, but I tell you a funny thing, it's becoming very popular. And it has great benefits. No more financial contributions, no more European Court of Justice, no more common fisheries policy, no more being talked down to, no more being bullied, no more Guy Verhofstadt. I mean, what's not to like? I know you're going to miss us. I know you want to ban our national flags, but we're going to wave you goodbye. And we'll look forward in the future to working with you as sovereign.
Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Boys and girls, grab your coffee or your tea or whatever and put on your pomp and circumstance pants today because we are celebrating Freedom Day. In particular, Brexit. That's right, it is official and the UK is celebrating and we are celebrating with them. Congratulations to our friends from across the pond. You were just watching the final speech from Nigel Faraj to European Parliament. The final speech that actually got cut off at the end. You'll notice that his audio got cut off. They actually cut him off, and then of course she tried to chide them and they all were waving their flags and walked out. It was really great, and I'm going to show you a little bit more in just a little bit, but let's get started with the Q post. 38:15, 22 minutes after the hour of 12, we get a Twitter status to Pismo at Pismo_B. I'm assuming that's Pismo Beach. Hey, Speaker Pelosi, talking about Nancy Pants Pelosi. Guess what? You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar! All right, well, this is a video from, I believe, 2017. It's a fairly old video, but it was since the Trump administration. And this was actually in regards to her trying to reach out and negotiate with Trump in regards to the Dreamers. But this video is absolutely hilarious, and I actually featured it in my burn video from February 4th, 2019, entitled Just Stop It. And I'm going to play you my version if you don't mind, because it's my channel and I'm egotistical and selfish. So check it out.
Hey. Okay, you've asked some questions. Okay, I totally agree with you. But as we fight the fight for the Dreamers, which do you want to listen or do you just want to shout? Yeah, I got it. As we fight the fight, it's clear.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Stop it.
Stop it now. Stop it. Stop it now. Just stop it now. Let's stop it now. Stop it. Look, I want to tell you something. You want. Why do we do this? Loud noises! Since you don't want to listen, we'll have to just go. You don't want to
That is uncomfortable and refreshing. What happens when people learn the truth? What happens when people wake up? They will not be able to walk down the street. The Great Awakening Q. Indeed. And I believe this paradigm shift started a while back. Like I said, this video is a little bit older, but still since the President Trump administration. But it's really starting to pick up some steam, of course, as impeachment is falling flat on its face. More and more people are ditching the partisanship, which is really, really encouraging. It's hard to know that by just judging online because we see so much of it. But I think overall people are really, really starting to get suspicious of not just their governments. I think they've been long suspicious of their governments no matter where they come from. But they're starting to get more vocal about it. They're starting to take to the streets more, and they're starting to really get confrontational with their leaders directly about it. And what I find amazing is, in particular, when we talk about China, we don't see this a lot, but to see so many Chinese start to rise up and really question their government is a bigger deal than you might imagine. Think about how many people really live in China. But this isn't just happening in China. We're just hearing about China, but this is happening in Malaysia. This is happening in Singapore. This is happening all over the place. And it's really exciting. Like I said, Macron can't go anywhere without getting accosted at this point. We've seen Bill de Blasio getting harassed as he's walking down the street in a parade. We're seeing this all over the place. Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff getting called out. So many of these people are getting called out more and more. And like I said, people are ditching this partisanship and really understanding that not only they're government officials, but these longtime deep state knuckleheads, but they're also really starting to turn their attention to social media outlets, really understanding the true nature of things like Facebook and YouTube and how they really bent the narrative. People understand, and I think that it's important to remember to give human beings such credit because they really are picking up on this. This is gaining a lot of steam, and like Q says, they will not be able to walk down the street. At some point, there's just going to be so many of us paying attention to all of this. And so this is why this is so exciting today. It's why it's so exciting to see the UK finally get a chance to leave after going so back and forth with this and deciding if they're going to have another deal and this and that. All this negotiation, it's finally done. I think we'll start to really see the fruits of that labor. Like I said a couple of videos ago, I think we'll start to see more of this really, really take hold probably in another year's time, but at least it's put into motion and we are moving. The Great Awakening Q. Post 3816, 29 minutes after the hour of 12, we get a Twitter status to Mark Noller, who says, Attorney General Barr says human trafficking is modern day slavery, says the issue is a top priority of the whole administration, pledges that the Justice Department will do all in its power to bring human traffickers to justice. And Q says, context post FISA. Okay, so remember, Q has also said FISA is the beginning, the start, right? So FISA is going to obviously reveal so much of what many of us already know, is that there was illegal spying on political opposition, not just President Trump, but political opposition dating back to at least Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was involved in this. And then, of course, the 4 illegal FISA warrants that we know of, Carter Page, Papadopoulos, Flynn, and Manafort. And let's not forget that story about Manafort. We're not going to talk about him much today. But remember, he's the only one that actually got put away. And I have a feeling there's a lot more to come with that. But remember, so much of this reveals something so much deeper. We know that the spying occurred. And as we go through the process up until election, I think everyone's going to find out that the spying occurred now. That's essentially what we're going to see. But this reveals something much, much bigger. And this is where we start to see players like a Jeffrey Epstein come into play. He's a perfect example, right? This is a guy that was wrapped up not just with DC elite, but Hollywood elite, the music business, everybody. It all kind of runs along the same lines, right? If you want that kind of extreme power, you need to be able to give something too. And in order to make sure that if you're on the take for millions of dollars in exchange for your position, your fame, whatever it might be, you're going to have to give something, which usually means some sort of compromising position to make sure that you stay quiet. And this is where it really gets into the human trafficking aspect. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein was not just human trafficking and providing who knows what to who knows whom around the world, but he likely also had videotapes, audio tapes, or whatever, some sort of damning or incriminating information on that person, so that person would always stay silent. You see how this works? It should make a lot of sense. And that's how this all really, really works. And that's where we start to see, whereas FISA unravels the spying unravels all the money and all the people that are on the take around the world. But then, of course, why they're on the take and how they're on the take and how they're bound to silence. That's how this really, really works, which allows these knuckleheads to propagate this massive human trafficking organization, which we've seen unravel also right around the same time. So this is big news, and let's hope that Barr really sticks to this, because this is really, at least for myself, what I'm in all this for. I'm not really that much of a political guy, but I think that as we see the importance of what FISA really means, the start to all of this, this is what will unravel all of it. And that's why Q says they won't be able to walk down the street. If you think a guy like Macron can't do it now, just wait until they start to really understand how this is all connected. And people will understand this. More and more people are understanding this, and that provides a lot of context post FISA. Let's move on. Post 3817. I know, right? 50 minutes after the hour of 12, we get a Twitter status to Little Adam Skiff. This is a post from back in 2014. Q says, coming soon. All right, so let's look at this post. March 29, 2014, in Lithuania to speak at NATO conference. Baltic allies alarmed by Russia's actions. Hashtag United for Ukraine. Okay, so little Adam Skiff's just showing up that he's looking out for the little guy, right? And think about this. Right around this time was the time that Russia was getting kicked out of the G8, and which of course became the G7. And right around 2018 was when Trump was sort of kind of lobbying to get them back in the G8. But Russia's role in all this is pretty important, especially with a guy like Adam Schiff, because Adam Schiff's hatred for Russia actually goes back hundreds of years with his banking family. Back to Jacob Schiff and even before that, but particularly Jacob Schiff was a big player in all this. Now, he will downplay that he's part of that family, but there's a lot of evidence that suggests otherwise. And like I said, I will be coming out with a video at some point kind of showing how this all played out with Schiff's family and their relationship, likely to groups like Mossad. But my point is right now is that ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, it seems like globalists like a George Soros and the like have moved into Ukraine to try and destabilize the region. They would love to see Russia crumble, and they've used this as one of their deep state proxies. Iran is another perfect example of this, and of course North Korea is another perfect example of this. But they've long been in Ukraine because they were sort of easy to pay off around there. It was easy to be corrupt around that area. And of course, I believe it was Chuck Grassley just a couple of months ago released some documents. Forgive me, it might not have been Chuck Grassley. I'm talking off the top of my head. But somebody had released some recent documents showing that George Soros, using his own words, was talking about his financial support for Ukraine and his desire to destabilize and really just be a thorn in Russia's side. Now, how this will all play out, I don't really know, because Russia is cleaning out their own government, and I don't really know what their motives are going to be moving forward. But I've said this before, and this is, of course, just a hot take from me, if you will. It's no prediction, but it would not surprise me if at some point Russia makes an attempt, very much like Crimea, to annex Ukraine back. That would be a great way to finally settle that beef, right? And of course, the deep state doesn't really want that. They have long wanted to be a thorn in Russia's side. Now, I want to take you through a little Wikipedia excerpt regarding Jacob Schiff. This is way back in the day. Schiff's gripe against Russia had been its anti-Semitism. At home, Schiff had never shown any sympathy for socialism, not even the milder Morris Hillquit variety. Schiff had declared victory for his purposes in Russia after the Tsar was toppled in March 1917. I know. And Alexander Kerensky, representing the new provisional government, had declared Jews to be equal citizens. In addition to repeated public statements of support, he used both his personal wealth and the resources of Kuhn Loeb to float large loans to Kerensky's regime. When Lenin and Trotsky seized power for themselves in November 1917, Schiff immediately rejected them, cut off further loans, started funding anti-Bolshevist groups, and even demanded that the Bolsheviks pay back some of the money he'd loaned Kerensky. Schiff also joined a British-backed effort to appeal to fellow Jews in Russia to continue the fight against Germany. Okay, so they've had their hands in this really since the early 1900s, late 1800s, I guess you could say. And this is a big, big deal. So keep in mind, Adam Schiff comes from a long banking family. Morgans, Warburgs, all these families, Schiff. These were all big, big families that settled into New York, particularly around Fifth Avenue, when the United States was still a relatively, quote-unquote, new country, if you will, new to the settlers, right? So this is a long time coming, and a lot of this is going to get exposed, and hopefully some of it in my video. Now, I just want to clarify before I move on here, because I don't want to open up a can of worms without getting a chance to even make the video. We will talk more about this in a future video, but I'm flashing you a graphic in regards to Adam Schiff's parents, Edward and Cheryl. And as you can see, one side of Edward Schiff's grandparents are unknown, and both sets of grandparents on Cheryl's side are unknown. This is very common within the Schiff family, and like I said, we'll talk more about this, but I will say this for now. Regardless of whether Adam Schiff is physically in this family or not, the Schiff banking family is involved in events in Ukraine and the attempted destabilization of Russia, and has been for a long time. This family has been involved in really everything since World War I. So, and really even before that, it goes way, way back. So it only kind of lends to the idea that Adam Schiff, considering his role in Ukraine and the destabilization of Russia, or I should say the attempted destabilization of Russia, only kind of buttresses my point. So there you go. We're going to leave that for now. Let's move on. Post 3818, 10 minutes after the hour of 6, Q simply posts this picture right here entitled Freedom_Day. And of course, you know what this is. This is the Union Jack. Wait a minute. You guys just left the Union. Now I guess you're just left with Jack. I'm making all that up. I'm fake news. Let's take a look at some of the videos from around the UK today. Check this one out from Patent Spotting Bear. Spotting Bear sounds like what they call Elizabeth Warren when she's hanging out down on the res. Video countdown, beginning number selected, video length, time played. Do you believe in coincidences? The Great Awakening, where we go one, we go all. Look at all those Q signs out there. My goodness, check it out. Here's how you know it's official, because they're like, nope, 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 we don't want this one. We don't. Oh, this one right here. Let's just grab this one. Yeah, we're gonna just take this if you don't mind. We're not gonna be needing it here anymore. Yep, they take it down. They officially fold it. I guess I kind of figured that it would be some sort of weird folding ceremony or something like that. Nope, not really. She's just doing it to make sure that it doesn't get any creases. She does a good job. I don't know who these people are, but either way, kind of unceremoniously, just gonna take my flag and get out of here. Nice. And here's a little bit from 10 Downing Street. As you can see, they actually projected the countdown onto the building, and I believe this was a pre-recorded bell toll right there. But very cool graphics indeed. And I can't play you the sound here because it's BBC and they hate me, so they're gonna hit me with anything. But I'll skip you through here. They show a little bit of video around the UK. People are obviously celebrating. It looks like an absolute blast, and who can blame them? This is after 47 years of membership, so a long time coming. Congrats to all you UK patriots out there. It's beautiful to see you guys out there, and it's really cool to see you guys waving around your Q signs, so flash them high. So there are your Q posts, and of course, adding to the excitement on Freedom Day, the Senate voting 51-49 against having any witnesses. So this is very interesting, although personally I was kind of hoping to hear from our whistle leaker, whose name rhymes with Very new car smella. I don't know. Anyway, Democrats are upset. And you know what happens when Democrats get upset? We got this from the Miami Herald. Opera singer danced on an SUV, then crashed through Mar-a-Lago barricades. Cops opened fire. A Connecticut woman chastised for dancing on her car at a Palm Beach hotel late Friday morning ended up driving away and crashing her vehicle through 2 security barricades outside Mar-a-Lago, President Donald Trump's private club and home, drawing gunfire from law enforcement officers before leading a police helicopter on a chase that ended in her arrest. Hannah, and I'm really not sure how to say that, Remhild Rothschild, 30, a trained opera singer, is now in the custody of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. This is not a terrorist thing, Palm Beach Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said at a Friday afternoon conference. This is somebody that was impaired somehow. Remhild, I guess, could face charges for assault on both federal and county law enforcement officers, Bradshaw said. No one was injured, although the situation might have easily ended differently, officials indicated. Trump was not at Mar-a-Lago at the time, but he was expected to arrive at the club Friday evening. The White House said the fracas would not disrupt the president's travel plans. And I want to throw out there, too, for those of you who are not in the United States, we will also be having the Super Bowl, which is one of the biggest television events going. And of course, a lot of people attend this, so I would imagine that alerts are very high. So this is pretty scary stuff, even though it did seem like they were able to kind of de-escalate this. But let's talk about it a little bit. The incident began at 11:38 a.m. when Remhild Rothschild was spotted dancing on her black SUV at the Breakers Resort and Hotel. Already disturbing, Bradshaw said. Security called an off-duty Florida Highway Patrol trooper, but Remhild got in her vehicle. The officer tapped on her window. When it appeared Remhild was preparing to reverse away, the officer broke the window. He then pursued Remhild, who was said to be driving south erratically and at high speeds, but lost her in traffic. Remhild then approached Mar-a-Lago, about 3 miles south of the Breakers, driving the SUV through a staff security barricade on a public road outside the club. Then she crashed through a second staff checkpoint. The deputies and Secret Service agents that were there got out of the way just in time, Bradshaw said. As she continued towards the club main entrance, Secret Service agents and PBSO deputies opened fire, said Brian Swain, the Secret Service's special agent in charge for Miami. Her vehicle was hit several times. A vehicle is a deadly weapon, Bradshaw said, adding that it could have been loaded with a car bomb or been used to strike civilians. Okay, and there she appears to be right there from her Facebook. So this woman is a soprano. She is an opera singer, oddly enough. Sometimes they show up at the end, you know, when the fat lady sings, which usually signifies that something is over. I'm not calling her fat. I don't know if she's fat. I don't know if she's fat. Anyway, so this is a really, really sketchy thing. Now, I just want to memorize you of a couple of other incidents down here. Security breaches have become more common at the club since Trump became president. Currently, a Chinese national named Yujing Zhang is in a federal custody awaiting deportation after being convicted of trespassing at the club and lying to a federal agent. And if you'll remember this story, this was an extremely sketchy story. Zhang actually showed up saying that she was there for a pool party, but there was no pool party. And she ended up having a whole bunch of cameras, all kinds of different equipment. There was malware. She had a USB stick. She had all kinds of stuff that kind of led us to think that maybe she was going to try and mess with security cameras, maybe even implant some malware, various laptops and stuff like that. One thing she didn't have was a bathing suit, which you normally bring to a pool party. Zhang claims she was there for a party. Another Chinese woman, Lu Jing, is waiting a state trial on 2 misdemeanor counts after allegedly taking photographs on the property despite security telling her to leave. Okay, so you can imagine this whole weekend is probably going to be very, very high alert, and I don't know if there's actually any significance of this person being an opera singer, but it does seem very strange. You know, who knows? We don't really know much about this person yet. We don't even know if that's the real person at this point. We don't know. But either way, kind of interesting. So, fat lady singing? You tell me. All right, Patriots, that's all I got for you for now. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. And thanks to all of you who have done that already. I really appreciate it. If you've not joined me on one of my other channels, please do so. They're all linked down below. This one right here is DropSpace. You can find me at IPOT1776, same as my Twitter, IPOT1776. I'm also there on Gab, BitChute, and Brighteon, and those are all linked down below. If you've got info for me, please email me. Please do not DM me on Twitter, but you may email me, and that is also down below. And if you are old school and want to send something, my P.O. box is down below. I just want to say I just got a recent picture of some of the things that were sent. I haven't gotten to check them yet, but I did see a picture. Thanks to all of you who have sent cards and all sorts of really thoughtful stuff. I'm sorry, I can't always verify if I got your thing because I don't live in the country, so I don't go pick it up myself. But I do get to check it out from time to time, and thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it, and it's going to be fun to go through the next time I check it out. Also, if you'd like to support my channel, my Patreon is linked down below. It's all in the video description. All right, Patriots, stay safe this weekend, and until next time, stay funky.